everybody. This is Vince Miller. Thank you so much for joining me for our devotional. Today we're in Acts chapter 17. I'm going to be reading verses 22 through 31. Here's what it says. So Paul, standing in the midst of the Areopagus, said, "Men of Athens, I perceive that in every way you are very religious. For as I passed along and observed the objects of your worship, I found also an altar with this inscription, to the unknown God. What therefore you worship as unknown, this I proclaim to you. The God who made the world and everything in it, being Lord of the heavens and earth, does not live in temples made by man, nor is he served by human hands as though he needed anything, since he himself gives to all mankind life and breath and everything. And he made from one man every nation of mankind to live on the face of the earth, having determined allotted periods and the boundaries of their dwelling place, that they should seek God and perhaps feel their way toward him and find him. Yet he is actually not far from each one of us, for in him we live and move and have our being, even as some of your own poets have said, for we are indeed his offspring. Being then God's offspring, we ought to think that the divine being isn't like gold or silver or stone or an image formed by the art and imagination of man. The times of ignorance of God he overlooked, but now he commands all people everywhere to repent, because he has fixed a day on which he will judge the world in righteousness by a man whom he has appointed, and of this he has given assurance to all by raising him from the dead." Now, what Paul does here is actually pretty cunning. He doesn't get drawn into a debate with the Athenians about their gods, even though he is actually pretty irritated with their activities. Instead, he turns to a single observation, that they want to understand the unknown. And in doing so, he avoids all the peripheral issues and behaviors and practices of all their idol worship. He focuses his speech on what makes his God, the God of all gods, really so appealing. Now, I think we can all take a lesson from Paul today, especially in a culture that's so frustrating, because you need to know that in this crazy time that we live, I have had many moments myself that I have been frustrated. And in my frustration, I get sucked into emotional debates that focus on arguing about something that usually doesn't matter. Thus, I find myself caught up in these divisive arguments that do not address real issues nor real needs. And when this happens, I tend to focus only on my frustrations and my solutions, and therefore I miss seeing the real issue and God's solution that's much better than my solution in the first place. So today, if you're frustrated as you look around at a culture gone wild, remember, you were not the first to experience this. I believe Paul went through a similar experience as he walked into Athens, and he, like you and I, need to remember that God is still the God of this crazy world, and we need to keep pointing people to God. He is still the solution, and we are not. Thanks, fellas, for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have, share it with someone you know, and I'll see you right back here again tomorrow.